Hi guys, it's Emily from Novel Novels and welcome to today's video. This is my original tag of how we rate our books. Now I don't know if the tag is like an original tag name, I didn't look it up, not really original like that. Still feeling a little bit poorly, I've had a stinking cold all week, but I thought I want to film a nice chatty video, I wanted to do a tag video and I wanted to talk about how we rate our books. Now I am going to tag some people. I'm going to say their names at the start because I think, to me, some of the fun is tagging people. And I'm going to be tagging all of my book waffle gang. So Alice from Alice in the Giant Bookshelf, Charlie from Charlie Book Reads, Ange from Angie's Book Chatter, Jem from Gemma Books, Jack from Spread Book Joy, Danny from Danny's Book World, and also I want to tag Roz from Scaly Dangly About the Books, because I would love to know how she rates her book. And actually, I'm actually going to tag a big frigging booktuber because I want to tag Katie from Books and Things. I know she's been watching my videos and because she's a writer, I'd love to know if being a writer affects the way she rates her books. So, Katie, would you do this? Would you do me the honour of doing this tag? It would make my day if you did. Not that it wouldn't make my day if all the girls did, but, you know. So I'm going to link the prompts down below, but this is quite a chatty video. I don't want to necessarily go into, I don't want it to be a stress head video to make. I want to just make it into a chatty style. So these are just ideas about how you can talk about how you rate your books. But here are the prompts anyway. So the first one is, how often do you DNF? So I don't know what DNF stands for. It just basically means how often do you say, no, you're not going to read a book. You start it, but you did not finish. How often do you do that? I used to never do it. I used to not rate my books very often, not DNF very easily. And I found myself wasting time on books that I didn't necessarily enjoy. And that meant that I had a lot more lower rating books. And I didn't necessarily enjoy them as much. Then I got talking to the girls. And I read so many books. You guys know I read 30 a month at least. And they were like, what is the point of wasting time on a good book, on a bad book, when you know that, it's not for you? And what makes you DNF a book? I'm going to try and get through this without too much coughing. So what makes you go, I don't want to carry on? Do you have a set number of pages where you'll DNF? I find I tend to DNF between 0 to 30 pages. If I read much over 50, I feel like I have to complete the book. I will never DNF if I read over 100 because I feel like I've wasted my time in a book. Although I have done that once, and that was on a buddy read with a friend. But what point, how often do you DNF, and at what point in a book would you DNF it? Do you have a set limit of pages? How do you do on that? Because I'd love to know. I'd love to know a bit more about why people do this, and what makes someone DNF. Is there a set thing of triggers that makes people do this? Sorry, I'm trying to find a tissue. Is there a set number of things that make you DNF? I'd love to know. Point number 2. Do you ever rate a book 1 star? Personally, I don't. Personally, to me, 1 star is like a book that is not even worth it. So 1 star is never a rating for me. I don't think I have got any 1 stars. I have got my book journal in front of me. I'm going to see if I've ever done a 1 star. So what is the lowest star rating you give a book? I started this book journal in 2020. So this book journal is 3 years old. And at the moment, all I can see is 2 stars. But even that, my 2-star ratings, I just don't see. I don't see that I've ever done a rating lower than 2 stars. So let's have a look. This is why I should have planned a bit more, but hey ho, I've been poorly this week. That's my excuse. But no, I don't think I've ever done a 1-star book. But I'd love to know if any of you do. The next one is, what makes a 2-star book? Now, to me, a 2-star book now is a book that I promised to read for a buddy read, so I feel like I've got to complete it, or for a readathon. Or for, it's a book that I used to rate a lot more books 2 stars, and I used to rate them because I didn't DNF, so I would persevere and read them. But I tend to, I'll be honest, because I find that classics are books that I feel like I've got to read, they tend to be a lot more of my 2-star books. But what makes a book 2 stars? Is it a book? What makes you not like a book? To me, a 2-star book is a book I didn't like. A book purely and simply I didn't enjoy. There was something in it, a trigger or something in it. There was enough in it for me to get annoyed at it. But not enough that it made me DNF. You know, there's got to be something that kept me reading. But some examples of 2-star books is like I read a Julian Barnes book at the start, which was called Arthur and George, which was 2 stars. And I can't even remember a book. Books that are 2 stars, I don't really remember. Lady Chatterley's Lover. God, I didn't like that either. This book, I love looking at my book journal. And do you have a book journal to write it down? Where do you record? Actually, that's not even a prompt that I'm going to include, but actually I'll do that at the end. See, I told you. But yeah, I find 2-star books for me are books that they've got something in me that's kept me reading and stopped me DNFing. But basically, I didn't like them. I really find 2-star books are ones that I've not enjoyed, but they're ones I've still had to keep reading. Now, the next one. What's a 3-star book for you? For me, a 3-star book is a book that I thought was okay, average. A lot of my 3 stars are contemporaries or historical fiction that are like wartime. There are a lot of books that are just average. A 3-star book for me is an average read. I have a lot of 3-star books. A lot, like over the years. 3 stars is quite a common denominator. And actually a 3-star book nowadays is a lot more common than it used to be. I used to rate books a lot higher. And that's another prompt for a shortly. But a 3-star book now for me is good. It's okay. If your book gets 3 stars, I've not hated it. But there's not been enough to make it memorable. Not been enough to make me want to keep it. Not been enough to really got me. Whether it's got some triggers, whether it's got some bits and bobs in it that I've not enjoyed. It's not been that great. But like I said, for me, a lot of books have been 3 stars. Again, quite a lot of classics are 3 stars as well, actually, which is really bad. Right, but I think that's something being, yeah. 3-star books is ones, if it's a classic that's 3 stars, I think I tend to want to reread them. Yeah, 3 stars for me is just good. Average, nothing spectacular. Now, what does a 4-star book mean for you? For me, a 4-star book's good. It's really good. It's one I've enjoyed. 4 stars is the borderline of whether I keep it. Because I have so many books on my shelves, I don't keep anything below 4 stars. But if a book is 4 stars, I will keep it. If it's a classic, I will 100% reread it. A book that's 4 stars is very good. It's one I've enjoyed. It's one that has me hooked. But it's still not got that edge to get a 5-star. It's not had that edge. It's not had that wow, that I need to remember it. I'm enjoying it. I love 4-star books. They've got me. And again, that is quite common denominator for me. 4 stars is something that is quite good. And I've enjoyed a lot of 4 stars. Like I said, I look at this. Non-fiction books. 4 stars. I'm loving looking through this and going, 4-star books are, a lot of my 4 stars are the contemporary, so I've got some historical fiction, I've got some fantasies, I've got some everything else. But 4 stars, a lot of them are that. Actually, I've got a lot of classics that are 4 stars as well, because it's hard for me to get that, but that's another question. And the next one is, do you ever do half-star ratings? Before I got onto the lovely app Storygraph, I didn't even do half stars, because Goodreads only has exactly a star rating, so I never did half stars, or I didn't do it very often. I would have to write it in the description book if it's half stars. But I found that Storygraph has really helped, because there is that definition, isn't it, between the 3 and the 4, and the 3.5 and the 4.5 and the 2.5. There is that. I never used to do them at the start of this. Half stars were never something I did. but I am finding it a lot easier to rate half stars. My mum even does like 4.25 or 4.75. I can't go that. To me, that's like out of my headspace rating, like quarter star ratings, excuse me. But I do half star ratings now, and I think that's kind of really helped me, because it's helped me be a bit stricter on my ratings. Because lastly on the exact questions is, what is a 5-star book to you? What makes a book one that you want to keep? What makes a book one that, a 5-star for me is something that is amazing. A 5-star, could it be a favourite? A 5-star will only ever not be saved if it's been very hard hitting 5 stars. So a book that I can't read because it's had too many triggers, but it's amazing writing. Or a book that's told me everything, but to me a 5-star is one I want to reread. So many times I've got rid of a 5-star by accident and ended up having to rebuy it because I've loved it that much. 5-star books are favourites. I am probably more liberal with my 5 stars than a lot of the other booktubers I'm friends with. Like my sister hardly ever, Charlie Book Reads, hardly ever rates 5 stars. I know a lot of you others don't do 5 stars very often, but I am. But I've noticed that I do them a lot less now. And that's another question. I need to write it down because I will forget. But has your rating changed over the years? Has your rating got stricter or got easier? How do you feel that your rating of a book has developed over your time in BookTube? And do you think the BookTube has affected that? For me, it 100% has. I rated a lot more 5 stars at the start of my journey than what I do now. But I think I'm a lot more selective. I now know what makes, for me, a good book. Another one, I am going to have real fun trying to put these prompts in. So I've got another 2 more questions. Where do you record your ratings of books? Do you have a journal? Do you have an app? Do you have a diary? So basically, yeah, do you have like a journal or online? Where do you record your books? I have 3 ways of recording now. So I have my book journal, which I write down every book that I've read. I have Goodreads, and I have Storygraph. I love Storygraph because you don't have to write reviews. Whereas with Goodreads, you tend to I tend to write like short reviews on it. But I like Storygraph more. But I love my physical copies. I love writing down what I've read, and I find it more accurate than anything else. I'm sorry this is not the longest video. I'm sorry, it's been a bit of a interesting one. But I really feel that rating books has definitely changed over my time in BookTube. And I think that I personally rate books differently depending on their genre. I also try to rate them, like if I'm reading a YA book, I imagine myself young adult when I'm reading the book. So I imagine myself as the correct audience when I'm rating it, because I don't feel like I'm justifying it when it comes to the fact that I'm how bloody old I am. And I don't feel like, if I'm not necessarily a designated age range for the book, then I don't feel like I should rate it based on my age. So yes, I may be older, but if I was that age, would I rate it? Well, how would I rate the book? And I try and think about my ratings. And I think I try and put a bit more effort into rating a book. If it's a non-fiction, I won't rate it. I won't rate certain memoirs because I don't feel like I've got the justification to do that. And I don't always rate foster care books because, again, my journey is not necessarily, I just don't feel comfortable doing that. So are there any books that you don't feel comfortable rating? I would love to know. And yeah, just use this tag to tell me about how you rate your books. Talk about how you rate them, how you do it, if you enjoy it. And I hope you all enjoy this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel and not subscribed yet, ring on my ding-a-ling, and I'll see you all soon. Bye bye.